What is going on, race fans, and welcome into another edition of NASCAR Mailbox. This weekend, we'll be taking a look at the questions after Atlanta Motor Speedway. Let's jump right into it. And this next question will come from the channel It's All a Lie. They ask, will Atlanta ever return to its once great glory, or is it forever ruined? The new Atlanta is no good. Kyle Larson said it. It was boring. And it is. There hasn't been a race since the repave where I said that was good racing. Drivers' teams like Corey Lajoie Spire shouldn't be finishing fourth at Atlanta. I understand the sentiment of Atlanta Motor Speedway, the old Atlanta Motor Speedway where high speeds, engines being pushed to the limit, seeing which groove's going to be the best groove. Those classic 2000 finishes were kind of gone with the repave. It raced more like an old Darlington where basically the grip was right at the bottom groove and Harvicking in the sense where Kevin Harvick took well. So, understandably, they tried to repave, but trying to reinvent the wheel with the super speedway racing. And with the package that they have currently, it seems to be that it's going to be later than sooner that Atlanta's going to go through some changes. But give it some more summers through the Atlanta heat, the track's going to age, and we'll not likely see tracks being more super speedway-ish, this Atlanta Motor Speedway. I think we'll eventually convert to a type of a track that is seen more the old Atlanta where grip's going to be relevant. Because at the end of the day, especially with how much Atlanta is smaller compared to the other tracks, it's not really feasible for this track to be a super speedway 10, 15 years down the road. But it just shows NASCAR how possible it is to create super speedway style of racing. And it is mixed bag. I understand with super speedway racing, some people like it, some people don't. And understandably for Atlanta, for the history that it's had, I understand the bad taste. And the track itself is basically too narrow for it to provide 3 grooves of racing. And that's what you need is a third groove besides that side-by-side battle, which I understand some people don't like. It was relatively interesting if you're looking at the front of the pack, especially those last few laps between Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski to see how those lines form. But if you're expecting the old Atlanta, I understand your disappointment. But maybe so way down the road when it gets more likely that they need to repave this track again. But I don't see it anytime soon that NASCAR is going to say, on the spray, in the fall, in the summer race, we're going to get rid of the restrictor plates. So Atlanta's here for a while for the super speedway races, but like I said, it should not last the entire track time length of the pavement. It shouldn't be like this. It will go through some changes. Give it a few more somewhere in the Atlanta heat, and we'll have some different type of racing on this surface. Now, I want to answer the second part of the question, also introducing this question by Trifold Wallet. They ask, do you think Spire Motorsports will continue to give Corey Lajoie competitive cars throughout the season, or have the first several races been a fluke? Now, super speedway racing has been a mixed bag of results. Sometimes you get the fastest car that wins, and sometimes you get some underdog winners, like Michael McDowell winning the Daytona 500 at super speedway racing. It's all about the attrition and luck of it, of how well you draft up. And with what happens at Atlanta, being that super speedway racing, Corey Lajoie has been up there. Even if you look at his Daytona 500 results, they've been respectable. In 2021, he finished 9th, 2022, 14th, and 2023, he was 16th. Those have been better finishes for Corey Lajoie, and even in other super speedway races, besides the Daytona 500, he was in pretty close position of where Joey Logano was in the last summer race, trying to pass Chase Elliott before Chase Elliott blocked Corey Lajoie into the wall, took out Corey Lajoie. And even in 2021 at Daytona, the fall race, Corey Lajoie was in a position to pass Ryan Blaney, really didn't have that momentum, couldn't make that pass, and got wrecked on the final lap. Corey Lajoie is a decent super speedway racer, so there shouldn't be a surprise that they are up there for those weekends, even though it might be a little bit out of water compared to where they run for most weekends. But the team as a whole is improving. You look at late 2022, several of those finishes that he's had, Corey Lajoie have been in the top half. You look at the Roval, 12th place. Texas was at 14th. And then Bristol was at 15th. So there are strides being made with the team. But it's not something where I expect Corey Lajoie to go win week in and week out. But there is an improvement. 2022 saw more lead lap finishes than 2021. And right now, Lajoie has his career best average finish in the Cup Series. So it's strides that are being made with Spire Motorsports. And it seems like Corey Lajoie is taking the lead with that team. But I don't think it's going to be a fluke that Lajoie can reel off some top 20s. But I don't see him finishing fourth week in and week out. But the little team that could, they're trying. And I think they're seeing improvements from their program since the inception of Spire Motorsports. And that will do it for this week's edition of NASCAR Mailbox. I will be at the Circuit of America's racetrack this weekend in Austin, Texas, covering the NASCAR races for Frontstretch. Follow me along at Real Jared Haas to get those updates in the garage area. And then from then, for NASCAR Mailbox, we will see you after the dust settles in Texas.
This is Daniel Hamrick, driver of number 11 Collar Grits Chevrolet. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also, check out one of those two videos beside me. Visit frontstretch.com for more racing content.